Welcome to the Fortress Fitness Podcast, where we talk all things health and wellness. Your hosts today are Clay and Aaron Snellgrove, Bruce Thomas, and Todd Sullivan. Brought to you by X Endurance.
So we're here for second episode of this weekly podcast. Hoping to bring some insight to members of the gym and those in our outside community that aren't around us all the time. So what are we drinking? Todd, you're joining us today.
Nitro cold brew.
Nitro cold brew.
Nitro cold brew.
All right. Bruce, what do you got?
4 shots of espresso.
4 shots, same
Woo!
thing.
Oat milk, baby.
And oat milk.
Yeah.
So, are you going to have more than one of those today?
Last weekend I had 2.
How did you sleep?
Bad. That's probably a bad idea. I have to, pull the caffeine.
Well, I'm just
back.
going tall coffee today.
Sponsored by caffeine.
That's not just tall coffee. You've got multiple packets of sugar in
And
there.
agave. Agave is my sweetener. So agave is in my tall coffee. Aaron, what are you drinking? Just your
Plain coffee with a light splash cream, no sugar.
Light
No.
splash.
Light, so all
Light
three
splash.
of you need sugar. I don't need any sugar.
So start off with the week in review. I know that personally, I got into the gym Monday, Tuesday, worked really hard, took Wednesday, Thursday off, had a great workout Friday. That was one you guys crafted to help prepare for my upcoming birthday WOD, if you haven't heard about
I
that.
think everybody has heard about your
Salt
birthday
bite,
WOD.
burpees, box get overs, 1-arm snatches. So it's coming Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Be there.
How'd you feel about that Friday workout?
It was good. It was good. But I'm looking at the weeks ahead to build to that workout, and I've only got maybe 5 now. So I'm gonna have to hit it hard.
Yeah. How old are you gonna be?
I'll be. What am I gonna be?
Uh,
48 or 9?
No, you're gonna be 49.
That's 49.
Oh.
Amy always knows how old I am, so that's how old she knows she is, because she just subtracts 1. She never knows how old she is, but she knows how old I
I
am.
know because I'm 5 years behind you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I just have to.
Good week for 48, almost 49. Todd, how'd your week go? Did you get any workouts in?
I did. I got a few in. Recovering from a hamstring or a glute and hamstring pull, but so lighter on the weights.
And where did that come from? The glute hamstring pull? Were you running?
I was squatting for the hamstring, and I shortened my warm up like I know I'm not supposed to. I took out the cardio piece, the blood flow, built to 150. Still warming up, and sure enough, felt like
And tweaked it in the lift.
midway down, got to the bottom. It felt great. Got to that midway point up. Thought I was going to dump it. It was strong enough there. And then just jumped on my biker, and 20 minutes of zone 2, kind of to warm it and to keep it, promote a bunch of blood flow. I voodoo flossed it.
So,
all the
yeah, I
things
think
that I
that's-
think are the right things.
That's good for especially our members to hear, people that are new coming in doing workouts. You might get into a workout, and I know it's happened to me before, where just something goes wrong, especially with some of those
Yeah.
barbell lifts. You get a little light on your core and you tweak a back, or your knee just doesn't feel right. And so my suggestion is, don't try to be a hero when you feel something off. And, I've had plenty of members when I'm coaching that I see something in their movements and go right over, and it's like, it's a little, and hey,
On their face.
let's not do that. Let's sub a movement real quick. Let's finish the workout, but don't work out through that pain and make it worse.
Yeah,
right?
discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah.
So be smart, not strong and stupid.
Well, and I saw you Saturday. You
Yeah.
were moving well. So.
Yeah.
Bruce, did you get a chance to work out last week?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go?
He doesn't work out.
Yeah. It's all a blur. Multiple workants. 4
Because
a.m.
you're hitting it early.
Yeah.
Probably why it's a blur.
Coaching some of those days. And the one that sticks out is the one that me and Aaron did Saturday was chipper.
Yeah.
Nasty. I posted that one, the ski, the muscle ups, the ropes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're focused on maybe an upcoming competition, or you're in that competitive space, you have to add some work outside of class WODs, or maybe you can't just do 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And a chipper like that, there's so many skills to work on.
Yeah.
It's probably a good format to work on some skills, is just
Absolutely.
load them up.
One of the biggest things, and I just put myself in the fire, like I said, because I'm not competing, but I'm training Erin to compete. So I'm going through all the things that I know that people struggle with, and then I test them, and then I know where to tweak them based on what her needs are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that workout, and I know
I snuck in a
from
class
you,
one.
I know from being, your spouse and being around you,
Oh.
you hit a really awesome it was a squat snatch. I saw you hit.
I mean, we're working on it.
Yeah, it was because for years you just power snatched everything.
Yeah.
And
If I snatched and didn't do cleans instead.
But isn't that so interesting though?
Yeah.
How in theory the squat clean, the squat snatch should be so much more dynamic, more fluid, heavier.
yeah, you get
But
more
how
weight
many
if
of
you
us,
can do that. Right.
how many of us just never take the time to fully develop that pulling ourselves actively underneath the bar, getting comfortable,
Yeah.
That's a right.
taking that what seems like 10-second pause, but it's really a quarter second, half second to let everything settle before we come out.
That's actually what's made the difference, is just learning how to sit in just a second of patience.
Yeah,
It's made a huge difference.
And it is a difficult movement, and when you come into CrossFit, a lot of people have never done a snatch. I know I had never done it.
No.
46 when I did my first one.
And you want to play, so you see the board, and you want to put some weight on the bar. And for me, it was ugly. It was always a power snatch because my mobility wasn't there to squat. So, one thing that I like to emphasize with members, especially from my perspective, is if I see some strength with a snatch in it, I mean, sometimes, I'm taking a 15-pound bar and putting 10s or 15s on the side, which basically gives me a 35-pound bar.
Yeah.
And work all those positions deep in that squat snatch. And, you got to be able to do the bar before you start adding the weight,
But that's important. I was telling Erin, as getting more of the coaching and not competing, I was getting away from the squat snatch. And then I felt as if my mobility was going. I was like, I can't do that. So it was an excuse. So I got back doing it, but lightweight, right? Because if I'm still doing it in a workout, I still need to feel it. If I'm coaching and programming something, doesn't matter for me. I still need to feel that when I'm doing that. So what you're doing, I think, is the key.
Well, and even just not going straight from PVC to
I always do 15. I go
so,
15-pound barbell every time.
PVC, 15-pound barbell. For me, 35-pound barbell.
Then
Either the 45-pound barbell or weights, but hitting all of those, because let's face it, there's not many times in life where we take something from the ground and in one swift movement we put it overhead. A wet bag of mulch is the only time I've ever done it besides here, right? Like that's it.
And so seeing you hit that 135 squat snatch, looking real pretty with it, made me think of some videos that popped up on my Apple photos or whatever. And it was you working out 5 years ago and doing a qualifier for the Granite Games in your garage, as a matter of fact. And we thought you were in great shape, and you were in great shape back then.
Yeah,
but
real skinny.
To really look at where you are now, it was really cool to see those videos and talk about when you see those videos. Does that give you a sense of pride and accomplishment? How do you reflect when you see those videos pop up on your feed?
It's just perspective, though. People get frustrated when they're working out and they can't do something, but then if you just back up just a little bit, you're like, but look where you were. And I was doing fantastic. It was just different because I was doing a lot more running at the time.
I was going to say you were an endurance-based athlete.
A completely endurance-based athlete. So to be able to do any of that on top of being 15 at least pounds lighter, way less muscle, and still being able to do some of that stuff was pretty amazing. But I think for other people, they just need to go back up and say, when they're having trouble with a movement, where were you a year ago? It's a good lesson for me, coaching other people too.
Yeah, and definitely encourage people to track what you're doing with whether it's an app or a notebook or something. I do some of that, and that's fun to look back. But I think there was something really different how the video and the hits. I think that watching for me how I move so much better.
Oh yeah, looking at movement patterns. Yeah,
and
if you practice, you can get better.
And so we all sort of worked out together years ago, 12, 13 years ago, we were getting into CrossFit.
Well, technically I would have been pregnant with Cooper when Todd and Amy arrived.
So
because I worked out right next to Amy.
Yeah.
That very first day she taught.
As far as CrossFit goes, I think, at least for me, and I know for you, just some of these new movements over time have gotten better. So we're better, quote unquote, CrossFitters.
Yeah.
Now, when I was playing competitive baseball, college baseball, we were in the weight room a lot. So I was probably power cleaning more than I power clean right now. But looking at overall fitness, I think I'm in better shape now than I was then. As far as your progress, and you guys were military, so the perception is you would be getting fitness tested.
Oh yeah.
You're young, full
And
of vigor. If you were like me, you're in the weight room because you wanted to look good and you wanted to feel physically imposing, because you're young and you're male and whatnot. How do you look at where you're at now compared to where you're at then? Do you look back and say, God, I wish I was 24 again. Look at how I used to run. Or, how do you look at it now?
I'm wiser now. If I would have put in the work that I'm doing now at an earlier age, who knows where I would be. Just saying, the military, you're just so, listen, you get up, you PT, you run, you push up, you sit up. You do it just crazy. But let's be real, I was very young and I partied a lot. You know what I mean? I just didn't have the perspective that I do now. Now I'm trying to push myself to the edge, even though I'm not competing, because I just want to be my best self. So I think I'm in better shape today than I was 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, and you both had surgeries in the past 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about, because we all have, I had a little tendonitis years ago that just, it wasn't right, and I had to go back to basically throwing a 10-pound wall ball to a 9-foot target.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, just don't do heavy overhead for a while, so you lose a lot of strength. And I know with you it's hip, right?
Well, he had a bicep.
And you had a bicep. Okay, so you've had a couple surgeries.
2 in the last 4 years.
And some people, it's in the last couple of years. COVID, it knocked me out for 2 weeks, and then they don't get back in the rhythm for a month, 6 weeks. Talk about restarting some of the mistakes you make, some of the things looking back you did right.
Yeah, so the first was the bicep tendon. I came back from it fairly quickly. I was doing a lot of work with opposite hand. I've read all the science on when you're moving this hand, how it promotes muscle growth in opposite, and I believed in it, and it worked, and I got back relatively quickly from it. It was an anomaly, right? I was hanging from the rings and heard denim ripping, except it was my bicep tendon coming off my forearm. Couldn't prepare for that one. It happened, got through it pretty quick, and got back to full things. My big mistake was letting my hip atrophy and my movement regress.
Tell them what happened with the hip though.
For almost 5 years. So
you had the issue.
So I had the issue, and I kept thinking, certainly I'm too young for it to be a total hip replacement. And I did everything I could to avoid a hip surgery. And I remember one day doing 100 cleans, just to your right. And every round, my right foot went further and further back because it was so painful. I was just loading up my left side. I was 6 inches off balance doing power cleans at 115. Just not smart. And so for me, my road to recovery was, for 1 year, I didn't care a thing about load at all. I was a PT king.
This is
physical therapy,
post-surgery.
post-surgery.
Yeah.
I went to physical therapy for 1 year to move well again.
Now, looking back, is there anything that you might do differently or add to that routine that you've sort of seen?
Yeah, I think, I had created a great protocol for mobility and moving well again. In hindsight, I think if I would have said, hey, if I can't meet this protocol, then maybe I need to take action sooner.
Yeah.
So vice waiting and letting everything get, out of balance and off. And I'm still like, I'm not lifting dynamically what I used to, but I think I'm moving overall better.
Yeah.
I think my squats are a little bit better. They're balanced now. I mean, there's a slight difference in length now. My cleans feel like I'm moving symmetrically. We can talk about an early arm pull, but that's not a hip issue. My snatches, I feel like I'm in a much better setup. I'm not in protective mode, so my overall movement pattern is significantly better, I think, than even before I knew it was a big problem.
Your shoulder surgery was a labrum?
Toward the labrum off the bone, rotator cuff, and then they separated my bicep tendon and put it down lower, because most people, when they don't do that, if the doctor don't know what they're doing, it gets tight and they'll pop it.
Yeah.
So your recovery, you were like, I'm going to get back to competing at that time.
Yeah.
So there was a big goal right there.
Yeah.
And did that help as far as like doing what you needed to do?
The mindset was right. It was totally different. I mean, within a week I was working out, but not with the shoulder.
Yeah.
It was so light, and what he was talking about, working out with the other arm.
Did you do one-arm burpees and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I did everything. I did everything possible, and I probably pushed it too hard. And I mean, I have minor little tweaks and stuff inside there that I just work around. But I mean, it just depends on what your mindset is. But it was still a full year recovery.
Yeah.
It was gnarly.
And we worked like when you were lifting, I'd sit in front of Bruce and I'd tell him, hey, you're off balance. Like, and I think part of it is your body goes into a protective mode for a while when you don't even you're not even conscious of it.
Yeah.
And that labrum, that's the stuff that mine, my doctor said looked like a sponge. It had been shredded and tried to reheal so many times in my hip. So no wonder I didn't feel good.
Getting the strength back was very tough, because you could tell the weakness of it. It took a while for that to really come back, because like you said, there was times that I tweaked the other shoulder because
that's our problem, right? Like, if you have a bad hip and you change your movement pattern, guess what? Now all of a sudden you tweak your your left shoulder because you're out of balance. So don't wait 5 years.
Right. So I know you and I talk about it a lot. We're very tuned in to like how we're feeling. For me, it's like I don't want anything bothering me, because I've got to be very active when I'm coaching, and then and doing the baseball and softball academy. For you, like, you don't want to have any interruptions in your training and set you back. Mm-hmm. So I think you do a good job, at least watching you. You'll tell me something doesn't feel right, but for me, something doesn't feel right. My instincts shut everything down, which isn't optimal. Talk about how, like, when something's might not be perfect, but you got things to do. You want to get better. You want to keep progressing. How do you approach it if something doesn't feel right? How do you work around it? And how do you know, when to not do something, when to push through it? Is there any cues in your own body that you've been able to find?
I mean, we've all done this long enough that, like, you kind of know, like, the familiar ache or pain, and like, oh, okay, this is one I can work through. If it's something unfamiliar, that's when I kind of put the brakes on just a little bit. If I know, I just didn't warm up good enough, I need to work on mobility, I should have stretched differently. If I'm doing the protocols like that I tell everybody else to do, I'm doing the hip halo, I'm doing crossover symmetry, I'm doing the IYTW, I'm doing the banded sevens, I'm doing all those things, rolling, if I'm doing all that stuff, generally I don't get those tweaks and those aches and pains. So if something is weird and I don't know what it is, back off to a different movement. There's always something you can do and still be sweaty and miserable.
Yeah. So that unique feeling that, oh, I
If
haven't felt
it
this
had never
before.
happened before,
Let's
back it off a
switch
little bit.
to another muscle group
Yeah.
or do another.
Yeah.
We're heavy in communication though, because
Yeah.
as soon as she says something, I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Because I'll be the first to tell you, if you got to shut it down, you can't be afraid to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Because we need longevity, but she does a good job.
And sore's okay.
Sore's
Right?
sore's
Sore's
yes,
okay.
sore's good. That's not the issue.
Hurt or injured
That's different.
is different.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what a lot of people don't get.
Yeah.
It's just pinchy.
I tried at one point because I'm probably hyper vigilant about how everything feels, shoulders, elbows, can I still throw, can I still run, whatever. And I didn't have the patience to keep it up, but I started trying to journal like Rain Man, if you remember his serious injury list, right? I started having like a list of like, okay,
Underwear
lower
501 Main.
lower back, all right, knee, how's it feel? So that when it comes up again, okay, I remember this. It was
It's gonna be
when
all
I
right.
I went a little heavy on my squat, and I just need to be light for a week and avoid running or whatever,
But that's the key to not just writing down your score, right? So too
Yeah.
frequently we get done at the workout, 12:56 RX, the end.
Yeah.
Not my snatches felt wonky, but I stayed with the weight, and now my shoulder's bothering me.
Yeah.
Or went down on a burpee and just something didn't feel right when I was popping back up. Like my hip just felt like those are the notes
Yeah.
that are important. And there's a note section in SugarWise.
Good
Like
point,
that's
yeah.
the important stuff. That's as important or more important than time or
Yeah.
load or because those things are great to measure ourselves against. But going back to injury and injury prevention, that's the stuff that tells us what makes us feel off and where we need to shore up the small stabilizing muscles.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things.
Definitely.
So, one thing when we were talking about these videos popping up and the progress and how really in Aaron's case it was super cool to see just the growth. For me, it's a little strange because I'm in class and Aaron got a nice video of me doing some kettlebells, and it was fun to see on the story. I was like, I'm moving pretty well.
Yeah.
But then I was just like, but who's the guy with all the gray hair? And like, why am I
Not me.
Yeah. So
Well, maybe.
Yes.
Wait, at our age, that color is distinguished.
yeah. So I try to tell myself that. But so I think over the years, I've been a little hesitant to like put some stuff out there, me working out. But I know when I have and people comment, it feels really good.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, that community and that sort of affirmation, like what I'm doing, I feel good about it. And then somebody's like, oh yeah, that's awesome, man. I saw you working out. It's great.
Yeah.
And even in Aaron's case, at a certain point, I encourage her, it's like, man, throw that stuff out there. Cause like I get pumped up every time I see her doing something.
Yeah.
I get pumped up when I see you doing something.
Yeah.
How do we feel about, I like to cheerlead when I see people, it's just so awesome, and yet in myself, like I don't throw a whole lot out there, because I'm sort of scared, like, what are people going to think? Like, do they think I'm trying to like show off? Like, yeah, sometimes I am. Hey, look what I can do, but it's, so I'm, I don't know, a little self-conscious and stuff, but I love to have those videos because then 5 years later, I'm like, yeah, I'm still doing it.
And here's something funny related, not direct. Yesterday, did the workout. And I was nice and warm afterwards, and I'm coaching the next class, right? I went right into coaching. And I've got the group out, on the veranda, and they've got assault bikes going, and there's a set of rings that I'm pretty sure Bruce put up. They're pretty low.
Yeah.
Don't touch the ring.
But they were perfect height for a strict ring muscle up.
Yeah.
I hadn't tried one since my birthday when Teddy called Amy and I out, and Teddy couldn't do one. But I pulled,
Not to mention.
leaned through, got one.
Yeah.
Josh Bowman's like, did you just do a strict muscle up?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. So then when I ran with him, he's like, so we started talking about it, and I thought, oh, that's, I didn't think, I wasn't thinking anybody was looking. I was nice and warm, hadn't tried one since July. But those are the things that people, I think, do appreciate seeing when you do some cool stuff, some things that you have to actually put, a lot of effort into. And I've realized I haven't put enough effort because it was not an easy straight ring muscle.
Yeah.
I remember them being, but those are the things that people do, I think, appreciate seeing, especially as we, fitness should always be fun. And as we age, this is playground, from grade school. This is the new playground.
Yeah, and another thing I do like to put moments, inspiration, motivation. I'm at my best. Yesterday, I worked out with Sarita, and we shared the barbell. So I got videos of me and Sarita doing the same weight, but I felt like, movement looks good.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I hope when people see, they're like, he's doing the same as Sarita. I'm like, all right, Sarita can probably do more than me. So,
Sarita's favorite part of yesterday.
And she would probably say, well, you run faster than me, whatever. But yeah, I think it's fun, whether it's gyms I've visited in the past that I follow their Instagram accounts. I'll click through stories of their daily workouts and just watch the members working out, But I think that goes back to just, I'm a member of a community, and it's not just the Fortress Fitness community. It's just a community of people that make health and fitness sort of a priority.
Yeah.
We sort of get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm all the other boxes in the area. I follow them. I like to see their athletes doing stuff. And, I don't know. It makes me feel good. So I don't know, new members, if they think, well, I don't want to video myself right now. I haven't been doing this for a while. It's like, man, it may be the time, put up your phone a couple times and get a couple videos. You're going to get nothing but love if you put it out in our community.
Yeah. And that may inspire
but even just
else.
to put it in your own photo album. And the inspiration.
It may inspire somebody else who's like, okay, I didn't realize, Todd was working out there. Maybe I should give it a shot.
Well, I get what you're saying about somebody think I'm showing off and whatnot. But there have been a few times that, I've put a few things out there and someone said, thank you for doing that. My little girl loves this and she wants to start lifting weights. Or someone says, I feel like it's okay to try.
Yeah.
And if somebody thinks that I'm showing off, honestly, who cares? Because if 3 other people, or even heck, 1 person is like, I feel like now, not that you need to give somebody permission, but they feel like it's okay to go try something really hard. And even videos of you trying and not getting something, because then it's like, oh, I don't have to be perfect. It's progress. It's a journey. It's not you're ever perfect, but maybe somebody else wants to shine their own light.
Yeah.
So.
And I get comments like, hey, my dad thinks that he can do this now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
No?
It's a movement.
Yeah.
It's a movement. It's deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
Real, raw. We film what we do, and we want to inspire others. Put that stuff out there. Who cares what it looks like? I know when we get all caught up, it needs to try to be perfect. And I try to make mine look good and visually because it's fun, and I like the media side of things. It's an escape. It's cool, but at the end of the day, it's about who am I inspiring right now, right? Yeah. So it's super cool.
We didn't open the gym for us. We opened the gym so we could affect the community and the community beyond, Christianity.
Well said. And speaking of the gym, I just took a peek at the week ahead. Looks like some really cool workouts. Several days have the strength component.
Yeah.
I think I saw a hang squat clean in there.
Hang squat clean 3 reps.
So, for me, I think like we talked about with the snatch, I can power clean probably more than I can front squat. So
really?
that's I don't think I could. I don't know. It'd be a struggle to front squat.
Okay.
I think it'd be a struggle to front squat 185 for me. Down deep below parallel.
Yeah.
Maybe I could, but that's definitely an imbalance in my strength.
Yeah.
And so I guess going into this hang squat clean, for somebody like me, what would you say? Yeah, I want to feel big. I want to feel strong. I want to put some weight on the bar, and get that strength component, but my legs are terrible.
I would say once you are at a weight that's starting to feel uncomfortable, only lift when you have somebody watching to make it like I tell everybody when I'm coaching, let me know when you're approaching, near top end weight so we can make sure that you are hitting full extension, pulling myself actively under, getting up, all those components. Because if we just lift without feedback, sometimes we're not body aware enough to know, did I meet all the standards of that lift? I PR'd, but it was the ugliest lift ever. Is it a PR? Sure, but are you going to hurt for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Maybe. And I really think, while it's nice to hit a big number and it's nice to hit a PR, it's really nice when we feel accomplished from a lift.
Yeah.
When you feel like I can tell, like my butt's almost like you can't slide a hockey puck underneath my butt because I caught that so low. That's the feeling of elation, not what's on the ends.
But what you're saying, I'm going to piggyback, which I love, that starting to feel uncomfortable, say that weight was 135. I would challenge you to take it back to 115, 120.
And nail it.
And nail it every
And
time.
nail it. Over and over and over and over. Because there's no way when you start progressing, you're going to be able to do that heavyweight right if you're not hitting the fundamentals. We see it a lot, man. You got to back down. That ego's got to back down, and it's got to feel right.
So how do you feel about, getting up in weight, especially with that clean movement? I'm going to strap on a belt. What do you think?
The belt serves a purpose, but honestly, learning how to brace internally correctly on your own, if you're pulling that belt out so you can do more weight really poorly, it goes right back to it. And really, how often are we training in that 85 to 90% range?
Yeah.
Very seldom. And so if, we're backing that up and you're hitting, at 75%, should you have to be wearing a belt? No, you need your core to get stronger if that's the case.
And I know that lower back, it's been an issue for me for the last 2 weeks. I woke up, I think I'd done a lot of running.
Hamstrings.
And so I backed off a little bit of the weight and whatnot. But I know that's a common, I heard it from another member yesterday. It's just a common ailment. And I think it goes to, like you said, instead of backing off and hitting it perfect, we want to keep loading that weight, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good tip, especially with that hang squat clean coming up, because we can get some bad positions in that front squat. Now I saw some rowing in there. Rowing for me is always aggravated a little bit of the lower back.
It's core brace.
Okay.
Like to me, it's a power clean on a machine.
It is a power clean on a machine.
So
that's literally it. Yes.
So there is a technique there.
Yeah.
100%.
And I just would just pull and
Hands of a clock. If you think of an old school clock face, when you're in your full extension, you should be maybe at an 11, maybe a little bit past 11 towards the 10, but you should really not come much past the 1 either. So, nice.
So that collapsing and reaching.
Yeah, that's real bad.
Yeah.
That's real bad.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. None of us were going to say that on camera, but honestly, if we can practice that and keep that brace, that hip hinge, we're hip hinging, and
that's
we're
the deadlift
driving.
as well, right?
We're driving out of those heels. It's a
thing.
pushing sport, not a pulling sport, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you drive through. Barbell. That is a leg sport with a finish of the arms. Row, leg sport. Finish with an arm.
You've seen rowers' legs? They're like.
Now, when you're rowing.
Oh, my quad, Becky.
Yeah.
If you're rowing, say, a minute, is as opposed to say 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So what, 250
250 to 300.
to as opposed to
Maybe,
2,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, talk about damper and stroke rate. Do you pay attention to those things?
Yeah, because I got
The
yelled
damper-
at a whole bunch.
Yeah, the damper being
The
how
damper
hard.
is usually 5.5 to 6 for me.
Okay, so right in the middle, no matter
right in
what.
the middle. I mean, yeah,
Same.
like people mess with it and stuff. I figured that keeping it right there, I know exactly how hard I've got to pull, and trying to slow my stroke rate down and drive through my heels and keep the core tight so that, you know, it's a powerful pull instead of just yanking as fast as you can. That doesn't do anything.
And I would tell you, I'm about a 5.5. But there's a way to know. There's a
Yeah,
drag factor
there's actually
test
that.
that you can do, and I'm happy to walk any of our members through knowing exact. Now, it'll vary from machine to machine how clean it is, but it gives you a really good ballpark on
You
it.
sort of know your sweet spot.
Yeah.
And I've done it. It's,
Yeah.
It's 5.5.
Yeah.
That's where I start.
Yeah. If you're a professional rower, it's a 2.5, 3, because you're so efficient at movement. None of us are professional rowers.
Yeah.
Nope.
But stroke rate, I gotta say something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, drives me crazy, man. And I know members don't know, and I talk, and I even talk to her, but
30, 35, 30.
yeah,
Oh, that's me. The fastest faster I go.
you are beating your ass. It push and pull, but that pull so strong, and bam, my stroke rate. I keep it
24?
down. 26.
I'm 24 to 26 right now.
Yeah,
I'm 23 to 25. 24 is my happy spot.
Yeah, and but you have to be more strong in the pull. I mean, you got to get used to it. Our shorter people are different than longer people, so you got to have a stronger pull. But man, that rower beats people's ass. You've got to find that sweet spot. It is not all.
Well, the cardio rower, strength rower, and there might be a time to change, but if
for
it's
the most
yesterday,
part, like-
yesterday I rode instead of assault bike.
Yeah.
24 the entire time, rowing at about a 1450 calorie per hour rate.
Yeah,
Like happy spot.
yeah.
Not overly winded,
You can breathe.
ready to move as soon as I got off, was able to nasal breathe through most of it, not all rounds, it was 12 rounds of it, but I mean, if
Straight lines on the pull.
yeah,
The
keep
chain.
the chain straight. Yeah, it's a machine. There's a flywheel.
Yeah.
Keep it under tension. It's your friend. Don't keep it under tension.
When it starts bouncing,
Leads us to the next point. We need a row clinic.
Yeah, we'll do another row.
Row clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to put some help out there.
Look out for
I've already heard of row. I've already heard row and mobility clinics in our near future.
or even just a video where I row and you guys fix everything I do wrong.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
okay, so some
like
free
that.
personal training.
Now, so exciting week of programming. I know all you guys are preparing for my birthday watch, and you got to get your 3 or 4 days in, 5. Some of you guys
5
up to
days.
5. Yeah. But that also brings up the point that so we released episode 1 of the podcast. We had a lot of views, so thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Comment if you'd like to hear us talk about anything.
Oh, we have some members that want to hear some things.
Yeah, so let us know
So they've
in the
got some
comments.
questions.
And it looks like foreshadowing, big news in CrossFit. We won't get into it today, but we talked about it last time. The Masters
Yeah,
division of the CrossFit Games are breaking apart from
And
the
see-
Elite CrossFit Games, and the Legends. How are they called? What's their?
It was Legends Championship.
The Legends
is what they're calling
Championship.
it.
Teams are
competing in it.
different.
They're taking
Yeah.
over, putting on the Masters CrossFit Games, and it looks like we're going to get to have a conversation with the head of Legends.
Yeah, we'll be able to get Joe.
Okay, so
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
that may be episode 3. Tune in, and if you like Masters CrossFit, we'll have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
But programming at the gym, be here. Let's get it going this week. But we're hoping, and we know from hearings from some people, we do have people as a part of our community, whether it's online with our Instagram, Facebook pages, or now the podcast, that aren't in our area, and they can't benefit from the gym, from the community. And so that's why you guys have put out an at-home programming.
Yeah.
makes it a little simpler. You don't have to have a ton of equipment, right?
Right.
And you can get access to that programming. So if let's say I'm going to work in the Northeast for 2 months, and I download this program, how's it going to benefit me?
Yeah. So simple, super simple. So we're trying to have an outreach outside of our four walls. I think we kind of touched on that a little bit about social media and stuff and what we're trying to do. But we're going to have a link where you can go to, and I'll give you the information on all that. It's actually going to piggyback off of our website, Fortress Fitness. But it's going to be super simple. You're talking 10, 15, 20 minutes of your time each day. There will be, if people have home gyms, if they have equipment, if they don't have equipment, body weight stuff, there'll be scalable options. If you have a CrossFit gym, if you're just a member to a gym, you can't always be there. If you're traveling, if you're on vacation, whatever it is, it's going to benefit that person, whether you're just getting started, whether you're a novice, whatever it may be. But these workouts are going to be super simple, and you're going to be able to see them and knock them out. Like today, I did one, I videoed it, I'm going to put it out. Today it was 10 rounds, 10 kettlebell swings, and 10 goblet squats. Right? So say you didn't have those, what did we say?
10 up downs.
10 up
So
downs.
not full burpees.
Yep. 10
Still
regular squats.
Mhm.
You want to challenge yourself, up the weight, lessen the weight. Super simple, so nobody has an excuse not to be able to do it. Very inexpensive, but we want to try to reach outside of these four walls and see what kind of difference we can make to anybody out there.
What I really like about those couplet style too is that you don't have to look at a list of 5 or 6 movements, bring out 17 pieces of equipment. You're constantly looking over going, what's the number I have to do? It's easy. It's simple. It's 10, 10, and 10.
Well,
you don't forget anything.
It's simple. It's not always easy.
Yeah. It's simple. It's
Couplets
simple.
are
It's
typically
simple.
rarely
Couplets
easy.
are
Sneaky.
They're
They're
worst.
rarely easy.
Like that one, those Toast Tomorrow wall walks we did. the
Yeah,
other
so
day. That
so
was
I
awesome.
love that, because I think if we really get down to it, we're all in this space and we're dedicated to it. We're our part of our lives are part of it and stuff like that. But I think when I look around for myself and for people that I run into, one is some people just don't know, right?
No, they don't.
Like if you ask me about the world of ballroom dancing.
We did ballroom.
We did a little ballroom dancing, but there's so much out there, like I have no clue, right? Like, so if I got around some dancers, they'd be having terms and saying stuff, like I wouldn't have any idea, right?
Yeah.
So like, just if I have a membership to Planet Fitness in Birmingham, Alabama, I know exactly what I'm going to do. It's simple. All right. So the knowledge, that's the one thing for people. I don't even know what to do. Okay. This is the knowledge. So that's one strike we're taking care of. Then accountability.
Yes.
Right. A lot of
big
times,
deal.
The gym's perfect for that.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's why
I've got people in there that are looking for me, that greet me. I've got a hit on my credit card each month that says this is important. I'm investing, right?
Yeah.
So having that programming right there on your phone every morning that says this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also just as far as like the community feel, knowing other people are doing that same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the forethought where it's planned out for you. You don't have to be like, oh, well, if I'm doing that, am I?
Do we really want to make more decisions?
Right.
Something like that's the
Yeah.
thing. The decision's made for you, so you don't have to do it.
And you don't have to research. You don't have to know, is what I did yesterday okay with what I'm doing today and tomorrow?
Yeah,
I think that's the
thoughtfully
big
planned.
thing, right? And because so many people are like, okay, I'm going to work out. And they go and they hit chest day 7 days in a row.
It doesn't go
Right?
so well with our kids.
But what you just said, here's the component. It's not singular. What we want
Yeah.
to do, we want to be functional. So strength, cardio, and then the biggest things, squat, hinge, push, and pull.
Yeah.
Functional.
Yeah.
Right? So that'll all be there.
It's going to take you into life.
Yep.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys all being here. It's fun.
Yeah.
We'll do it again next week.
Yep.
So we should see everybody at the gym this week. mark your calendars, Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Clay's birthday lodge.
Yep.
All right.
Fun
We'll be training for that this week too.
All right.
Of course we will. All right.
All right. Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of the Fortress Fitness Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For Fortress at-home programming, follow the link below or find us at our website, www.fortressfitnesstn.com.